In earlier videos, we explored the planets as inner players and the elements as psychological temperaments. Now we arrive at the stage itself. The birth chart is divided into 12 areas called houses. Each house represents a specific sphere of life, not traits, but locations of experience. While karma influences the entire chart, the houses show where life events and inner lessons unfold. They trace a journey of awareness, from personal identity through relationship and responsibility, and finally toward inner freedom. Understanding the houses shows where growth is most active in your life. The first house begins at the ascendant, the moment the soul meets the physical world. It describes your instinctive approach to life, your body awareness, and how you initiate experience. This house shows how life felt at the moment of entry, whether challenging, curious, cautious, or confident. When heavy planets appear here, early life may feel demanding or serious. As maturity develops, the first house becomes the place where self-direction strengthens and personal authority grows. The second house governs resources, skills, and self-worth. It shows what feels natural to develop and sustain, not only money, but talents and values. When planets gather here, life emphasizes material stability and inner security. Challenges in this house often reflect inherited attitudes about worth, whether abundance feels safe or restricted. The task here is not accumulation, but developing a healthy relationship with value, both internal and external. The third house governs thinking, learning, and communication. It shows how the mind processes experience and how ideas are shared. When this house is emphasized, life focuses on curiosity, language, and connection. Challenges may appear as self-doubt in expression or hesitation in speaking openly. Growth here comes from trusting one's voice and allowing communication to evolve without fear. The fourth house represents inner security and emotional grounding. It describes the environment that shaped early emotional patterns and the concept of home, internally and externally. This house is less about physical location and more about belonging. Strong activity here often signals a need to build inner safety rather than depend on circumstances. The task is learning to carry stability within. The fifth house governs creativity, joy, and self-expression. It shows how freely the soul plays and creates. The sixth house governs daily effort, health, and service. Together, these houses balance joy and responsibility. When overemphasized, life can swing between duty and pleasure. The lesson is integration, serving life without losing joy and expressing creativity with discipline. The sixth house is where karma becomes work. It governs daily effort, health, discipline, and service. Unlike the fifth house, which expresses joy freely, the sixth house refines the soul through responsibility. This house shows how you respond to imperfection, in the body, in routine, and in life itself. When this house is emphasized, life often demands correction, repair, or service. Chronic health patterns here may reflect long-standing habits carried forward, not as punishment, but as signals asking for adjustment. The karmic lesson of the sixth house is simple but demanding: to serve without resentment and to care for the body without identifying as it. Mastery here transforms duty into discipline and effort into quiet strength. The seventh house governs partnerships and cooperation. It reflects what we seek and meet through others. This house reveals relational patterns and how balance between self and other develops. Challenges here often involve boundaries or over-identification with relationships. Growth comes from relating without surrendering identity. The 8th house governs shared experience and transformation. It deals with trust, vulnerability, and inner change. Life experiences here often feel intense, requiring emotional honesty and resilience. This house invites psychological renewal, letting go of control and integrating deeper layers of awareness. The 9th house governs meaning, belief systems, and the search for direction in life. It reflects how the soul seeks truth through philosophy, learning, travel, or spiritual inquiry. This house shows the frameworks you rely on to understand existence. When emphasized, life pushes you to question inherited beliefs and expand perspective. Challenges in the 9th house often arise when beliefs become rigid or unquestioned. Growth occurs when curiosity replaces certainty. The karmic lesson of the 9th house is not blind faith, but conscious understanding. Here, the soul learns to navigate life guided by wisdom rather than dogma, and to seek truth through experience rather than assumption. The 10th house governs your public role, responsibility, and sense of authority. It reflects how the soul engages with society and accepts accountability. This house is not only about career, it is about contribution and visibility. When the 10th house is emphasized, life asks you to step into responsibility and lead through example. Challenges may appear as pressure to perform or fear of failure. These experiences shape maturity. The karmic lesson of the 10th house is developing inner authority, acting from integrity rather than external approval. Here, the soul learns that true success comes from alignment between responsibility and purpose. The 11th house governs your relationship with groups, society, and collective ideals. It shows how the soul interacts with communities, whether as a reformer, supporter, outsider, or observer. This house reflects karmic patterns formed through friendships, organizations, and shared causes. If emphasized, the soul often seeks belonging through vision rather than intimacy. Challenges here may appear as disappointment with groups or feeling misunderstood by society. These experiences are not rejection, they are refinement. The karmic lesson of the 11th house is learning to contribute without losing individuality and to belong without dependency. Here, the soul learns cooperation, shared purpose, and the difference between connection and conformity. The 12th house represents withdrawal from the outer world and return to inner awareness. It governs solitude, reflection, and the subconscious layers of the psyche. This house does not indicate punishment, it indicates completion. When planets occupy the 12th house, the soul is learning to release old patterns that no longer require conscious engagement. Periods of isolation, spiritual practice, or introspection often activate this house. These experiences are not loss, they are preparation. The karmic lesson of the 12th house is surrender without escape and compassion without self-erasure. Here, the soul learns how to let go so a new cycle can begin with clarity. The 12 houses form a map of lived experience. They show not who you are, but where life asks for awareness. By understanding these areas, you move from reaction to participation. In the next video, we explore the lunar nodes, the path of growth and release. Welcome to Karmic Scripts. Understand your map, master your direction.